This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. As we continue to listen, learn, and grow, we are amplifying Black voices and perspectives in an effort to start a new COVID-19 vaccine conversation. We're sharing stories intended to help us navigate this unprecedented time together and to co-create solutions in support of the Black community. Hear these stories at weconsiderwa.org.
What's up? It's your boy, The Ted Smith. Thanks for listening to the Men's Room Daily Podcast. Want more? Check out the greatest podcast in all the land, The Podcast. Be sure to subscribe and listen to a brand new episode every Tuesday night.
99.9 KISW. We return to the men's room with Miles and Thrill.
Commenters stood firmly on the side of one studio employee who said they caught somebody eating their lunch at work in a popular internet forum. In a Reddit post published on Redditor, user Steel Snapdragon asked 3.6 million members if they were wrong for making an example out of the man who stole their food, titled "Embarrassing, a Lunch Thief at Work." Explaining how they recently started a new job, Steel Snapdragon said they were about to prepare their lunch one workday when they noticed another studio employee eating their food. I made coffee, I'm at the counter, and I noticed that my Tupperware was in the sink, and it was empty. Imagine my surprise when I turned around and saw a man I did not know sitting down at the table with my food on his plate. So I sat down next to him and said, "Hey, that looks good. Mind if I try it?" Then before waiting for an answer, I yanked the plate away from him and snatched his fork out of his hand. He caught on quickly that it was my food, and he went a little red. He stuttered out some nonsense about not knowing it was mine, and I replied, "Well, you knew it wasn't yours, right? The people there, they just stared in silence." As they say, stealing a coworker's lunch is a major office faux pas, and according to the Society for Human Resource Management, erodes trust and sows an environment of suspicion in the workplace. Despite potential consequences, stealing lunches is a common practice in the offices around the country. One Redditor asked commenters if they were wrong for how they reacted when a man stole their lunch out of a shared refrigerator at work. Well, in 2017, Business Wire, they surveyed 1,600 office employees about their workplace etiquette, amid data about not understanding office jargon, stealing parking spaces, and general workplace habits. The survey revealed 18% of employees had admitted to eating a coworker's lunch without permission. 18%. They say over the last 2 years, with the onset of COVID and an increasing number of employees working from home, that has transformed the workplace meals. But for those who have returned to offices, questionable lunch policies do remain a concern. Last December, Newsweek reported on an employee who claimed their boss stole half of their lunch before heading into a meeting. Following the theft, the employee was informed by a coworker that the boss stealing food was to be expected.
Damn.
And encouraged him to simply shrug it off. Our question, what is your I'm not proud food moment? 206-421-ROCK.
I never stole anyone's lunch at the old job that I had in radio, but Ted, as you said, we were broke, right? Because we had the crappiest shifts, all that kind of thing. You had no money, right? Pay your rent, whatever. So we had a vending machine in there, big heavy ass thing, and it really wasn't the best selection of stuff, but like that's my meal for the day. So every night I would shake this goddamn thing until something fell down, and it was always the Mallow cups. I hate Mallow cups, but it's the only thing that would ever fall. Anyway, after like 6 weeks of this, they started catching on. So they, as CBS would do, they put out the memos. Hey, stop attacking the vending machine. Whoever it is, we're not sure. Finally, our old boss, Bill Passion, pulls me in. He's like, look, 90% of the things that go on around here, I just suspect you're responsible for. I said, you're probably about right. And he goes, the vending machine. I know it's you. I said, it is me, Bill. And he's like, why are you doing it? It's only like 75 cents. And I told him, I said, you guys don't pay me enough that I can afford something out of the vending machine. You know what you pay me. I got to pay them rent. I can't afford it. I got 50 cents an hour raise.
Nice. Just for stealing from the vending machine.
Just from stealing from the vending machine. See, kids, sometimes dreams do come true. But the stipulation was you cannot steal anything outside of the vending machine. I basically did the deal of until that goes into effect, which I think is about 3 weeks, I got to keep hitting the vending machine, man. I'm not going to starve to death.
What is your I'm not proud food moment? 206-421-ROCK.
Hello, Tyler. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola, cholas.
Hola.
Quick shout out to my brother. He's actually part of my story. So my story is me and my brother, we were extremely baked and had the bright idea to make some mac and cheese. So we went all out and had our mind set on some mac and cheese and made 2 boxes and threw a whole stick of butter in it. And we sat there and we started eating it. And I remember he looked at me and he goes, hey, does this taste funny? Well, come find out, we used bad butter. Our refrigerator was broken, so it was butter that was sitting in our freezer, and someone put it on the counter. And so to power through it, we decided that we'd just drown it in ketchup and continue eating it.
Did you get sick?
No, everything turned out fine. I guess we're just old iron guts, but yeah, everything worked out. It just wasn't that good.
What did it taste like? I don't know, like spoiled milk, or what was the indication that something wasn't right?
It really just tasted moldy. It was disgusting. It just had, the taste mold is very, very distinctive.
It is, but I don't typically keep eating it and crush it with ketchup. Like if I feel it's mold.
We were pretty baked, I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, okay.
First apartment I ever had, man, we would buy bags of white rice and bags of potatoes. Mm-hmm. And we would try to come up with as much different stuff as we could, because that lasted for at least a week, and even if it was just a cup or two of white rice with soy sauce on top.
It's still a good meal.
It was what we had, and it was like, hey man, we got a rice maker. Mm-hmm. You guys want some rice? Like, yeah man, I'll have a cup of rice. And that basically we didn't have any frozen vegetables, nothing to put in it.
No, you open most people's fridge white rice. When you're young. I mean, there's a couple of condiments, usually a light beer that they're saving, right? And that's about it. Yeah. If they have a loaf of bread, you think they got a raise. I mean, seriously. Although, to his point, it was years ago. Well, I was a kid. And I decided during summer vacation, you know what I'm going to do? Both of my parents are working, my brother's off of college. I'm going to make chocolate chip cookies. Mostly because I want chocolate chip cookies, but I have no money. So I pull out the old Betty Crocker cookbook, flip through, follow the directions to a T. I bake the cookies. My parents come home. I'm kind of excited to share with them, hey, your son is taking it upon himself to bake. And I followed the recipe, and they were kind of happy for me, so they each tried a cookie. And as a kid, a lot of times your parents don't tell you the truth directly, but there is a look that they give each other that tells you something's up, right? So they both take a bite, they're chewing, and then I notice their chewing has slowed down, and then they kind of meet eyes. My mother's like, how'd you make these cookies? I said, I got the recipe, man. It's right here, and she's reading through it. And she goes, okay. And she's like, they don't taste right. So then I take a bite, and I'm kind of like, ooh, yeah, they taste weird, man. They taste like 8,000 different foods, right? And so we go through the ingredients, and finally my mother goes, all right, where'd you get the baking soda from? Because I'm not aware that we have baking soda. I'm like, oh, dude, it's been sitting in the fridge for like the last year. I just use that. I did not realize that people put baking soda in the fridge to absorb all the stink of everything. That's when I found out why we kept baking soda in the refrigerator. So just a word to the wise, if you use that 6-month-old box of baking soda, that taste carries.
Sure.
I mean, it tasted like chicken, it tasted like spaghetti sauce, and then imagine like the occasional chocolate chip in your mouth. It was horrible.
For at least 3 years.
I did not know.
The first 3 years that I lived away from
I'm not even positive I know what it does. I just keep one in there.
It's supposed to absorb. You're supposed to open it, and it just absorbs the odor, right? So your leftovers. I didn't know. That's when my parents explained it to me. I'm like, good to know.
There was a ton of places that had 10-cent wing nights, things like that.
Yeah.
So we would always take advantage of wherever those places were, and whatever places had the cheapest beer. There was a place called The Dungeon. They had quarter hot dog night and quarter beer night. Okay, all these things.
Was that the same night?
Yeah, it was the same night. So you could basically go there. You could go there and eat dinner.
Call it Vomit Fest. I'm going to give you 25 cent beer on the same night.
Like 10-cent wings is one thing, but I'm like a quarter hot dog.
Yeah, quarter hot dog. So you could go there and get 4 hot dogs for $1. You can get 4 beers. You spend $2. You drop $2, man, you're out. So we would take advantage of these deals, but all of us, we would always get at least 1 or 2 stolen beer pints because we didn't really have any glasses or break glasses, whatever. So anytime we went anywhere, it was always, what can we get out of here? Is it a red pepper flake shaker at the pizza place?
Right.
Is it a Parmesan cheese shaker? Like we come home with vinegar for chips and stuff like that. Look what I scored in Long John Silver. All of our ketchup. The steak knives that we had. Mm-hmm. We had a pizza cutter that we actually took from a pizza parlor because we asked them if we could have one because the pizza wasn't cut all the way through. We got, basically, we would, salt and pepper shakers, you name it. Like, we were always short on mustard and mayonnaise and things that you couldn't pilfer off of a table. But anything else, if they put it out there, bottle of hot sauce, whatever, that's what we would grab. And we never left empty-handed. It could be a handful of napkins. Mm-hmm. It was always...
I still do the napkins. I do.
Always something, man. I mean, we never just...
How many McDonald's ashtrays did you have?
Tons of them. The little gold ones?
Yeah. Oh.
There was never a time where we went someplace, if we could get condiments, if they had them out, if they were in packet form, if they were in bottle form.
You would take, like, the bottle of Heinz off the table and...
Absolutely. Absolutely. Put it right in your pocket, man. Just walk the hell out. Hot sauce. Texas Pete was big.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Back in the day, Frank's was big. So anytime you go to a wing place, you always grab that stuff off the table.
There was a place where I used to live in Baltimore, Rocky Run.
Oh, that was a good barbecue place.
It was, and they were kind of famous, and they also had hot sauces lined up all along the
Yes,
blue.
yeah.
I don't, for whatever reason, that just became a game to us. Every time you went to Rocky Run, you had to steal a hot sauce.
Or there was a 6-pack of barbecue sauce on the table. Mm-hmm. Remember that? It came in like a 6-pack of beer kind of container. That was game too. That was fair because they had like hot barbecue sauce and regular barbecue sauce. Like there was a place like that where I grew up where you just went to a bar and filled with the barbecue sauce into a little cup and brought it back to your table.
Right.
We just took the whole damn container. Like they had 4 or 5 of them up there.
Well, that's why when I was a
We
kid,
just bring back one to the table and stick that bad boy in our pocket.
when you guys remember, eating in a Wendy's was amazing because you could pour your own ketchup.
Oh, everything, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
As a kid, that's a game changer, man.
Look, kids and old people, from what I could tell, there's not enough ketchup for them.
Oh, my God. There is no limit to the amount of ketchup that a child believes they need to eat anything.
I tell you should see my mom, though. Old people are the same way. She has the amount of ketchup and sauces. And I'm just like, what are you doing?
We had an endless
You're embarrassing me.
I just get so annoyed. It's like, you're barely going to eat half this meal. You got 5 sauces. It's a crab cake.
My buddy Jeff was a waiter at this place called the Boston Beanery, and they would have to refill the ketchup bottles. Whatever that was. That was one of his jobs. And he'd get 2 just like refilled ketchup bottles, you know what I mean? They had all the gook on the top and everything, and he'd refill them, put them in his pockets, man. And that was good for the potatoes and stuff, so like.
Sure.
Most of them are, you don't want to use the end of a ketchup. I don't know if it's different now, but generally the end of the ketchup bottle never got changed.
It does, but what was more disturbing to me, you're right, because they'll refill it when it's about halfway, right? So whatever's on the bottom has been on the bottom of that ketchup bottle much longer than any ketchup you've ever consumed. But I think the worst part, you open the ketchup, that weird, thick, tomato, saucy ring.
Yeah, that's exactly what was on there.
When any of that, and maybe it's just me, if any of that like pops out and hits my burger, like I'm like, it's got to go. I'm not okay with that. And mustard, man, there always gets that weird little crust.
That was the hardest thing to get, mustard, because we would ask for mustard. Like, hey, could you bring us a container of mustard for a hamburger or whatever? And they would always bring it out in a little cup.
Because they know your things. No, I want the bottle.
Yeah, man, I want we want one where we can leave with it.
Dude, you're right. That used to bug me, not anymore.
What, the mustard crust?
Yeah, I just gotten old and turned to that person. Like, Jesus, man, eat the burger.
Yeah.
Hey, you want me to eat it? I'll eat the crunchy mustard part. Get out of the kitchen.
What is your I'm Not Proud food moment? 206-421-ROCK.
Hello, Lauren. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola. So I was probably like 16, 17, I don't know, at some random party, doing whatever, extremely hungry, extremely intoxicated, searching through the house trying to find something. I look in the freezer and I see something wrapped up in some saran wrap, unwrap. It's a gooey duck, frozen. There's nothing to cook it with. I throw it in the microwave, thaw it out, and then cook it in the microwave and go on to eat it.
You ate a microwave gooey duck.
Yes, I ate a microwave gooey duck.
Somehow more comfortable with the chick who ate the scab.
Don't you need?
And I don't know why.
Don't you need to pound that stuff flat? You know what I'm saying? Isn't it like a razor clam where you really got to do some prep work to that bad boy to get it?
A gooey duck's huge.
I'm pretty sure you have to. I mean, it still had like the shell and crap on it, and dude, I remember it just being disgusting and super chewy, but I was committed, so at that point,
did you eat the whole thing?
Most of it.
You ate the whole thing?
I ate most of it.
Damn.
I mean, most of the time, you don't even want to reheat fish in a microwave, let alone cook it in the initial process.
A gooey duck at that, brother.
Based on the smell. I can't even believe you could identify it. I don't know if I'd have been knowing what it was.
There's a severed penis in your refrigerator.
What is that thing sticking out?
Dude, they're huge, but
yes, they are.
I can't imagine what that microwave smelled like the next day, though.
Oh, it smelled horrible.
Right.
It smelled bad when you were cooking.
Yeah.
It
smelled like microwave gooey duck.
You're just too drunk to know. What is your I'm Not Proud food moment? 206-421-ROCK.
That sounds horrible.
Yeah, microwave gooey duck.
Yeah, let me microwave this giant clam.
That's like a fear factor thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
For $1,000, eat a microwave gooey duck. Somebody here, we're talking about the mustard crust. Someone else says they believe that the watery pre-mustard
Discharge,
that is not the word they use, but yes, very similar. Discharge is way worse than the crusty mustard. I disagree. While I do not like to see that watery discharge flying out of my mustard, I just it doesn't bug me. It still tastes like mustard.
You kind
know
of
what I
have
mean?
an expectation you might get some of that.
Right. But the crusty, I don't know, man.
See, I'm with that guy. The
Really?
watery part bugs me. Like, I'm always shaking up condiments, and then if a little bit comes out, I'm like, come on.
So you'll take the crust over the water.
Correct.
I will take that mustard water over the mustard crust any day. And as far as stealing things from restaurants, not that we're encouraging this, but apparently the place to go, Red Robin. Everybody, they're like, dude, Red Robin.
Everybody steals their seasoning.
Their seasoning. So that's exactly
Well,
it.
they have it for sale. There's a reason.
Well, they do have it for sale, but also you can steal it for free.
I'm convinced Red Robin, they know.
Oh, they know you're stealing. They gotta know.
I mean,
right?
you're right. They do sell it, but like I'm just convinced they're just like, yeah, whatever. Did somebody steal another Red Robin seasoning?
You know they did. Did you guys ever do the thing? We used to do it at Pizza Hut a lot till we got busted, but unscrew the Parmesan cheese or red pepper flake tops. You loosen it up. Like, to me,
No.
You never saw anyone do it, but you knew inevitably someone would do it, right? And to me, that's what the whole joke was. And me and my buddies, we spent a summer going up there and doing it pretty much all the time. We go and get our pizza, but we'd always unscrew it. I went in with my parents. Waitress walks over and she take our order and she looks right at me and says, "Oh, can you keep the lid screwed on top of the red pepper and Parmesan? Thank you." Walks away, and then I'm just getting the death stare from my parents. Like,
Nice.
I'm getting busted.
Yeah, I never did that one.
Really? Oh, man, we used to do it all the time. I would do it now. I don't know what it is, man. Something about that I find hilarious. I really do.
What is your I'm Not Proud food moment? 206-421.
I don't think we're arguing that you find it hilarious.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. I'll take that. Hello, Jacob. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola, bitch, hola.
Hola.
So it was probably about two years ago. I had a little bit of a party, and so I was a little tipsy, eating a bag of chocolate chips, and just going to town on them. And my buddy decided it would be funny to say that I dropped some because I had a hamster at the time, and it would run around, and there was some hamster poop on the floor right by where I was, apparently. And so I looked down, and I don't really pay too much attention. I'm like, oh crap, I dropped some chocolate. So I go and reach down, I grab it, pop it in my mouth, start chewing, and something doesn't taste that chocolatey anymore.
Yeah.
And everybody that's in my house just starts kind of laughing, and I'm like, what is this? And they're like, oh, that's your hamster's poop. I spit it out, ran to the bathroom, put my tongue out, and like started running the faucet down as close to my throat as I could, gargling, could not believe that I literally almost swallowed and digested that. But everybody else just thought it was such a killer time.
It is.
I mean, I laughed afterwards once it didn't taste like it, but during it was like, oh my God, I'm going to kill you.
There's something about poop, though, man. My dog, Chewy, when Senior Larry was still alive, if Senior Larry dropped one in the litter box, you had about 2 to 3 minutes before Chewy smelled it, before the litter box was going to be cleaned by her eating it.
What is that? Why do dogs like cat turds so much?
I don't know. But honest to God, if you did not stay on top of it, you could go down there and look. And why is a litter box always clean? You should have to clean the litter box other than urine.
Right.
You know what I mean? And like, where are these magical Rokas going? And they were going down Chewy's throat. And she just, I mean, you had to be on top of it. You had to know when Larry was crapping, or she would eat it. And then she would come up to you and you'd smell it and go, oh, God, dude.
Yeah, my first dog was a big... My last 2 dogs, not that interested in cat poop, which I appreciate. My first dog, same thing. All about it, man. And the thing is, you'd get home from work and the dog has already done it. The dog tries to play in it. They kind of have that little bit of a guilty look. But you would look at the dog, and in her fur, only on her face, is just nothing but kitty litter. I'm like, you got to stop this, man.
What is your I'm Not Proud food moment? 206-421-ROCK.
KISW, the men's room returns with Miles and Thrill.
KISW proudly presents the roast of Steve Miggs. It's going down Friday night, April 15th, Snoqualmie Casino. Live on stage, Miggs will be roasted with your favorite KISW players. Adam Gerke showing up from what we understand. Comedian Craig Gass. Hall of Fame Seahawk Walter Jones. All up on stage. Plus, Glenn Cannon, Damage Done. Tickets on sale now, KISW.com. All right, question. What is your I'm not proud food moment? 206-421-ROCK.
Hello, Jared. Welcome to the men's room.
Liquor and whores.
Liquor and whores.
So, when I was a young kid, my dad took some unconventional ways of punishment. And at the time, my least favorite food in the world was any sort of bean. So my dad went to Fred Meyer and he bought like 6 or 7 cans of this nasty 3-bean salad. And inside this can was like naturally 3 kinds of beans just floating in a pool of vinegar. And me and my sister would have to eat that every time we acted up. So one time I got in some real big trouble while Dad was at work, and I went into the pantry and I got all the cans of 3-bean salad and I hid them in the garage. And eventually Dad came home and he gave my verbal whiplashing, and he had to go do something in the garage, and he stumbled on the spot where I hid all of them, and he made me eat 2 cans that day.
Now, what about now? Do you like beans now?
I'll eat black beans or some pinto beans, but green beans, lima beans, no, I'm good. I don't really like jelly beans.
When I was younger, I did not have an appreciation for beans. They were not in my wheelhouse. And the older I get, it's like coffee. The more I enjoy it, the more I appreciate I don't
like
navy
green
beans, and a ham
but-
hock is great.
But even like baked beans, right? Like we
I
had
love
them
baked beans.
all the time because they were cheap, they were plentiful. Somehow they showed up with every meal, but there was no chance I was going to eat them as a kid. Now I'm like,
They're one of the favorite things.
Oh my God, I cannot believe I wasted so many years of my life not eating
I don't
them.
know why that is. When I was a kid,
I'm with you. I like beans. I mean, I like
bean soup, anything with beans.
Right, when he was describing it, it's like 3 beans and vinegar. Sounds good.
I was thinking the same
I like
thing.
baked beans, but like when's the last, like outside of summer, I just don't know that I ever eat them.
I don't eat them outside of summer, but a lot of they just don't seem to show up. They don't even cross our mind, right?
Yeah.
But then somehow in the summer, when we're going to fire up the grill and hot dogs become our best friend, then all of a sudden it's like, we need beans. Like we have beans all goddamn summer. And then once like football season starts, I can't explain it. Like they're not on our mind.
Right, unless there's barbecue.
Right. Yeah.
And you're right. Like I have one of Terrence's like neighbors. He makes great barbecue, but he makes these beans that are unbelievable. And I always feel bad. It's like, no, like your ribs are good. But I'm like, God damn, man, those beans are unbelievable.
Even if you put like 3 different cans of beans in chili, or 3 different kinds of beans in baked beans, you know what I mean, and have that kind of mixture. Maybe you got a black bean, or you got a butter bean, or you know what I mean, or just the regular pinto bean. I always just mix as many beans in as I can.
They're good, man, as long as you cook them right.
Have you ever actually done the process where you buy the dried beans in a bag and then soak them overnight in water and gone through that whole process where people who really make beans, how they do it?
I did that a lot in the restaurants I worked in, and for that reason alone, I'm like, I do not want to do this at home.
It's not the biggest deal in the world.
It's not, but you just have to remember that they're soaking overnight, right? All that kind of stuff. And I'm like, I don't want to do this at home. I do not.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't, but I feel like beans are relatively affordable.
They're just fine in a can.
They are.
Oh, those bags of beans are like $1. You know what I mean? But canned beans, you know.
It's like
easier.
You ever just eat the beans out of the can?
No.
Yes.
Really? You never, like, you open a can and you consider heating them up, and then you're like, do I need to go to, nah.
You know me.
I mean, I think the goat of beans is refried beans.
Really?
Name another bean that you just eat with like a tortilla chip.
Okay, that's fair when you put it like that, but what if it's just like on the side of your Mexican dish, right?
Correct.
Do you ever just take your fork and then just eat them as refried beans?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Like, I like to eat them. They could also pass as just a dip. Like, that's how good they are.
That's true. They do pass as a dip.
And they put cheese on.
That goes a long way.
Some places do.
Mm-hmm. Do you know how many times refried beans are fried?
0.
Once.
Oh, damn it.
I have no idea what to call refried, but yeah, I was like, what's the process? Like, you cook them once.
With lard.
Right.
What is your I'm Not Proud food moment? 206-421-ROCK.
Hello, Tony. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola. Hey, guys, so I had this restaurant that absolutely tried to kill me one time, I swear. I had never had oyster shooters before, and I wanted to try it out with my group, and because I had never had them before, it wasn't just straight down the hole, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I wanted to kind of taste it, whatever, just for future reference. I ended up having a shell piece, like 1/4 of an inch long, And, had I swallowed that would have killed me. Now, in the same night, we'd ordered something else. I got soup, and there was a broken piece of pencil. The end of a pencil ended up in there. And it's not just like the rubbery part. It was, a part of the wood, the rubbery part, the piece of metal. So I'm just chewing it. And I said, there's nothing supposed to be hard in this soup. And so I once again had to call this waitress over and say, hey, look, what is going on?
And what did she say?
Oh, well, she was livid for me.
Well, I can understand the shell. I can understand the shell in the oyster. That's not unusual.
That is where they come from.
In the shucking world. Pencil and eraser with a metal part in the soup. No, that doesn't fly.
Yeah, I don't even understand when that happened.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and both of those things happening in the same night, same restaurant, within like 10 minutes of each other. Oh my goodness.
Well, at least it wasn't on you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All you did was order, so you can't control what happens in the kitchen. What is your I'm Not Proud food moment? 206-421-ROCK.
Hello, Joel. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola. All right, so I'm in middle school. My brother was in high school, part of the story here. And he introduced me to what I now know is blue ringers. And they naturally grow here in Washington, psychedelic mushrooms. And anyways, I was told that you're supposed to have them in like a strainer or something like that. You're not supposed to eat them raw. And so we decided I'm going to put them in some spicy tapa ramen. And it didn't have a strainer, didn't have anything like that. So we find some pantyhose. Well, it was used pantyhose, and I figured I'd put them in there. It'd boil out or whatever. It's fine. But basically, it ended up tasting like a spicy, dirty foot.
Did you get anything out of the mushroom?
Yeah. It was a great experience, honestly.
Okay.
Other than the taste of dirty feet, was this what, your mom's pantyhose?
Yeah, it was. Stepmom's.
Mm-hmm. Did you ever share this with her?
No, she never found out. Just was like, I'm missing stuff.
Okay. All right.
It's not bad thinking, man, in a pinch.
No, I mean, especially when you're thinking about doing like a fresh herb mix or something. Like most people don't have cheesecloth or whatever the hell's like.
Right.
Unless you're if you're a real good cook, you have that stuff.
Right.
But for the most part, it's a struggle for me to find like wax paper and stuff. I
do have wax paper, but that's thanks to the kids.
Yeah. But as far as the upper echelon kitchen stuff that you should have, if you know what you're doing and you know how to cook. Same stuff you would do if you're trying to take the acid out of spaghetti sauce with coffee
and all that.
Or whatever.
But I have coffee grounds because I make. If we needed pantyhose now, it's not like my wife wears pantyhose. So if I'm him, I'd probably have to use a sock. Right? In a pinch, right? You don't have a strainer. There's no pantyhose available. What's next? I mean,
there's really nothing. There's really nothing out there.
A washcloth, or something that can.
Maybe a coffee filter. If you can tie it off at the end, but
maybe.
It depends.
Yeah, I'm going sock.
What is your I'm Not Proud food moment? 206-421-ROCK.
A clean sock. Hello, Jason. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola.
Hola.
All right. I got to give a little bit of backstory on this one.
All right.
I was much younger. I was like maybe 7, 8 years old. My aunt had some kind of a party going on. It was like fire truck themed party. Now, 7, 8 year old me, I'm like, oh, this is my aunt's party. She made everything here. There's this cake. And so I thought she made the cake. Well, I was wrong. I was also wrong about this frosting that was sitting on top of the cake that I thought looked interesting. It was shaped like a fire truck. I didn't question what happened when I picked it up and it didn't mush in my hand. I chew into this thing. And the bottom of it, where it was on the cake, was tasting all fine, but the rest of it's all weird and dry and crunchy. And I didn't want to make my aunt feel bad, so I didn't tell her anything about it, and I didn't want to spit it out. Tell my mom afterwards, like, man, that frosting was nasty. He's like, what frosting? The thing was shaped like a fire truck. That wasn't frosting. That was a candle.
You ate a candle?
Yes. To this day, I'm afraid to swallow fire.
And you did not know it was a candle while you're chewing it?
No, I just thought it was bad tasting frosting.
Okay.
Oh, God. Okay. Yeah.
Ate a candle.
I'm trying to think. The only thing that I can compare to that was at one point in time, I think my mom got my kids a gingerbread house.
All right.
So I go to construct the gingerbread house, and my kids want to decorate. I said, "Look, I'll build the actual house tonight," and because it was late, and I said, "Well, we'll have it ready to go, and then tomorrow we'll decorate the damn thing. You know what I mean? We'll get it ready to go." So you need a little bit of frosting in the corners and everything to kind of like the concrete, so to speak,
right? Hold it together.
The adhesive part to build the home. I am struggling with this mightily. For whatever reason, I cannot get the structure to stand up without leaning over and falling. So what do? I go into the kitchen, go into the utility drawer, I grab super glue. I super glued the entire edge of this thing, super glued the roof on. Anywhere that there was a seam or a crease, there was a line of super glue going through this. Get up in the morning, this thing is rock hard, man. It is ready to go. It is a sturdy gingerbread house. Now they can get to their fun part, and they can decorate it. So what do the kids do? They decorate the gingerbread house. They take pictures of it. They're very excited. I run to the grocery store to get to pick up some stuff for dinner. I come back. They show me the pictures. I look down. Half the gingerbread house has been eaten. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I'm like, where did that... You ate that thing? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, God. So I pulled my wife aside at the time. I was like, I super glued that thing with Gorilla Glue last night. Like, I don't know what... It's dry. It's not wet. It's not like it's closing up your mouth. Or,
but still, you don't know what's in it.
I don't know what. Right. I don't know what it is. It's got.
Did you not think they'd eat it?
I just thought it was going to be a decorative thing. You know, for the most part, I had never done a gingerbread house before, so I didn't think that process through.
Even when you say gingerbread house, honest to God, I never picture someone eating it. I know it's edible, but like you say, man, it's just a decoration.
Yeah, it was just one of those things we were doing for the holidays.
I don't know. We did them when I was kids. It was always like torture. Like, when do we get to eat it?
Really?
Yeah.
I've never eaten one before.
But they never stay up.
Your kids have.
Well, mine did. What is your I'm not proud food moment? 206-421 Rock. Yeah, seriously. That's what I did.
Hello, Mark. Welcome to the men's room.
Good afternoon, bitches.
Hola.
You guys ever been to Cold Stone?
Sure.
Yeah. Sure have.
The little plastic spoons they give you to sample the ice creams?
Yeah.
Okay. In there with a buddy of mine, we're waiting to get some ice cream, and they have just spoons sitting on the counter, kind of like you see toothpicks sitting out at a restaurant. So we grabbed a couple of those, we're just chewing on them while we're waiting. We get up there to the counter to where the gal's at. She goes, are you guys chewing on those spoons? We're like, yeah, what's the big deal? And she points to the sign on the jar that says, already been loved. Why would they have those on the counter?
Right. I mean, why?
That's great.
Yeah, that's all. All right, fellas.
Yeah, man.
All right, man. God damn. It reminds me of the guy, you guys might remember this. He called in years ago, all right? And as the story goes, I mean, his mom went to church like every Sunday or whatever. And then once a month, I believe it was, or every week, one of his mom's friends, older lady, would show up and they kind of did a potluck lunch, potluck dinner, whatever it is. But anyway, the one thing they always wanted this woman to bring, like, man, her deviled eggs. Her deviled eggs are on point. And he said every time she showed up, everybody gravitates to the deviled eggs. They all eat the deviled eggs. Everyone enjoyed it. But one of the things about the deviled eggs that always amazed everyone was the perfect shape of them, right? So the bottom of the egg is obviously half an egg, but if you've made deviled eggs, it's, you know, when you put the top on, it's always a little gloppy looking, whatever, and you just cover it with a bunch of crap. But hers were perfectly shaped every single time. And he's like, this went on for years. And he finally asked her, after years of eating these things at least once a month or once a week, says, what is your secret to the shape of your deviled eggs? I mean, it just looks so perfect. She said, or after you put the filling in, I take each one and lick it off. And then put it down. And that's how she sculpted all of them. And he realized, like, all of these eggs he's been eating had been in her mouth before anyone else. He said this was for years and years and years. And I'm like, see, man, that's why sometimes you don't want to ask questions because you really might not like the answer.
I'll tell you what, though. You say that refried beans are the goat of beans.
Of beans?
I'm not so sure. The deviled eggs aren't the goat of eggs. And I've had eggs 9 million different ways in my life. Scrambled, fried, over easy, sunny side up.
I would agree with that. I would agree with that.
But as far as just eating it, not including in something, just the egg itself. And I realize they doctored up a little bit, mayonnaise and all that.
Sure.
I'm telling you, man. I think deviled eggs is the best way. If I see deviled eggs, I get excited. And I know I'm probably going to eat like 4 halves.
You know you're going to. Yeah. Everybody does. When you put down deviled eggs, you notice people don't really leave that table. Like, they might leave the dips for a while. They might even walk away from wings. But wherever the deviled eggs are, people tend to start making conversation. And I'm like, hey, you're making conversation just so you're close to the deviled eggs, and you hope I don't notice how many you eat.
Egg salad is a close second.
Really?
It's pretty well the same thing.
I don't know, man.
Egg salad sandwich? I'd rather have that than a fried egg sandwich. I'd rather have egg salad than a fried egg sandwich.
It depends.
I like both.
If I can get bacon on my fried egg sandwich, I'm taking fried egg sandwich. Otherwise, I don't know. I'm taking fried egg sandwich, man.
Okay. All right. But what is your I'm Not Proud food moment? 206-421-ROCK.
Do that next time I go to brunch or breakfast somewhere.
What's that?
Like omelet, scramble. Nah. Let's take like 6 deviled eggs.
Can you devil them for me, please?
Yeah.
Thank you.
How do you like your eggs? Deviled.
Ooh, I'm going to break that line down next time.
Can you imagine you're working in a kitchen and somebody comes back and goes, this guy wants deviled eggs? Like, the hell with them.
No, yeah. Tell him to get out of here.
All I would say is this. You might get those deviled eggs. You don't want to eat those deviled eggs.
Yeah.
If you ended up making that cook, make something that's not on the menu, you don't want it. Especially if they're real happy about giving it to you. That was always our thing at a restaurant. Like, yeah, we'll hook them up. Don't you worry about it. Or if a waiter came back and said, man, that guy at table 15 is driving me crazy. I'm like, you look at the ticket like, don't worry, we'll take care of it for you. He won't know, but you'll feel better when we tell you at the end of your shift what we did. I always did.
What is your I'm Not Proud food moment? 206-421-ROCK.
Hello, Dan. Welcome to the men's room.
Oh.
And
this is the second time we tried Dan.
That's the second time we tried Dan, man.
What's going on with Dan, man?
I don't know.
Is Dan dead?
Dan doesn't know how to use the phone.
I'd feel bad if Dan died while on hold.
That would be terrible. Hopefully he didn't eat something bad. Coming up, the return of Who Sucks Less, you are listening to The Men's Room.